The rain fell softly against the window of a small apartment in Portland. Inside, Grace Miller, a 5-year-old woman, sat at her kitchen table surrounded by unpaid bills and empty coffee cups. She had always been the strong one, the mother who worked double shifts, the neighbor who helped everyone, the woman who never complained. But that morning, when she looked at the eviction notice on her table, something inside her finally broke. Her husband had passed away 2 years ago in a car accident. Since then, Grace had been fighting, working at a diner, cleaning offices, doing anything to keep her daughter in school. But the world seemed to grow heavier with every passing day. The bills kept coming. Her body ached from exhaustion, and her hope, once bright, had turned dim. She whispered to herself, "Maybe I just can't do this anymore." Just then, her phone buzzed. It was a text from her daughter, Lily, who was 19 and studying nursing. "Mom, I love you. Don't forget I believe in you." Grace read those words over and over, and something small but powerful stirred inside her chest. She stood up, looked at her reflection in the mirror, and said softly, "I've survived worse. I can survive this too." That evening, she walked to the diner where she worked. Her feet hurt. Her apron was old and faded. But as she poured coffee for the regular customers, she noticed an old man sitting alone, silent, lost in thought. Grace smiled and said, "Rough day?" The man looked up, surprised. "How'd you know?" Grace chuckled. "Because I've had a few of those myself." He smiled for the first time that evening. When he left, he placed a $100 bill under his cup with a note that said, "Thank you for reminding me that kindness still exists." Grace stood there, holding that note, tears welling up in her eyes. It wasn't about the money, it was what it meant. It meant she mattered. It meant she was seen. It meant even small kindness could light someone's darkness, including her own. From that day, she made a promise to herself. She wouldn't let her life be defined by pain. She would rise one small act of courage at a time. Grace started waking up an hour earlier each morning. She'd write down one thing she was grateful for, even if it was something small like, "I have coffee. I have Lily. I have breath." Then, she'd pack her things and walk to work, rain or shine. A few months later, the diner owner announced he was selling the business. Grace's heart sank. It meant losing her only job. But instead of breaking down, she did something unexpected. She asked, "Would you let me take over the place? I don't have much money, but I can work hard." The owner looked at her, tired, determined, hopeful, and said, "Grace, if anyone deserves a chance, it's you." He offered her a deal: pay in small installments and keep the diner alive. Grace said yes. The next few months were chaos: early mornings, late nights, constant worry. But there was laughter too. Lily helped on weekends. Neighbors came to eat. Grace painted the walls a soft yellow and named the place the Rising Sun Cafe. The name wasn't random. It was a reminder that even after the darkest nights, the sun always rises. Slowly, things began to change. Customers grew. Bills were paid. And Grace found herself smiling again, genuinely, freely. One morning, a woman walked in, tired and pale, holding a newspaper of job ads. Grace recognized that look, the look of someone who's barely holding on. She poured her a cup of coffee and said, "On the house. You look like you could use a warm start." The woman's eyes filled with tears. She whispered, "You have no idea how much that means right now." Grace smiled. "Oh, I think I do." Years passed. The Rising Sun Cafe became a safe corner for people who had lost their way. Grace never became rich, but she became something far more meaningful. She became a light for others. And one morning, when Lily came home wearing her nurse's uniform, she hugged her mother tight and said, "Mom, I tell my patients about you, about how you never gave up. You're the reason I believe in second chances." Grace smiled, tears glistening in her eyes, and said, "Sweetheart, the truth is, I didn't rise because I was strong. I rose because I refused to stay down. Life will knock you down again and again. But it's not the fall that defines you. It's the rise. Even broken wings can fly again, if you believe they still can. No matter how dark your days get, you always have the power to rise again. Your pine does not define you, your courage does.